Giants are out in front on the strength of a Bonds home run, 2-0.
You know, Jim, in the past, some managers against McCovey have actually used four-man outfields. They've taken their third baseman and left the left side of the field completely open and moved him out to right center field, and that's not a bad idea.
This is foul.
Just as soon give McCovey that entire left side of the infield and concede a single.
Well, if Willie, who seldom does, should hit one to left toward third base, he can make it. See, the man over there at shortstop is really the third baseman, Ron Santo. Now, as we swing around, take a look at where Cardinal is. He keeps backing up and backing up and backing out in deep right field.
Well done finding a Willie McCovey highlight, I got to be honest with you.
Thank you.
Such as it was. And that's going to bring, before my time, way before my time and way, way, way before your time. But there's the Willie Mack Award that goes to the special player on the San Francisco Giants every year. There's McCovey Cove. So whether you're somebody like my dad listening right now that saw Willie McCovey play, you're somebody like me that heard from his dad about Willie McCovey playing, or you're somebody like you who's heard from dummies like me you get the point. The effect Willie McCovey had on baseball, more, dare I say, as a human being than as a player, and by the way, he's in the Hall of Fame, I'll tell you how good of a player he was, is immeasurable. And what has already been a very bad year for the San Francisco Giants on the field just got worse in a completely different fashion. As Willie McCovey, he obviously had health issues. He had been struggling. He hadn't been around the ballpark as much as he used to. It's completely understandable. 80 years old is a full, long life. But the effect Willie had on even the players of today, you talk to Buster Posey, you talk to a lot of the veterans and young guys with the club, they were all affected by Willie. And he is in that Mount Rushmore, if you will, of guys like Willie Mays and so many of the legends with the San Francisco Giants and with Major League Baseball. We'll have more on him throughout the day, but definitely, definitely something we heard yesterday, Kyle, that even if somebody's old, it's like a relative. They could be older, they could be struggling, they could have health issues. When it happens, and boom. The best thing is we're going to have a lot of Willie McCovey remembrances over the next few days, celebrating what was an amazing, amazing life.
What was jarring to me was how many people had a story about Willie McCovey either during or after his playing career, just being a generous, good human. And I obviously was not. I didn't know the guy, but
right.
It's I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like a legend is just gone.
And the best part, as we kind of said, for his family, who's obviously going through a tough time right now, is they're going to hear those stories come to the surface. They're going to hear people talking about him. It's going to be a celebration of his life. And this was not, he didn't get cheated. No. Let's put it that way. Tragic and sad that he passed. He didn't get cheated. No. If most people could do half with their life what Willie did, that's a pretty good life to live. We'll have more on that in a little bit.
Mo Bamba. The rookie drives in the lane, smothered by Buddy Hield of all people. Hield controls it, leads it out to Mason, drives into traffic, kicks to the far wing. Troy Williams with a pass back to Costa. There's the flip, there's the score by Costa Koupas. And the Kings now lead it 85-72.
Well, here we go tonight. Sacramento Kings go into Georgia. This is a place they have had. Orlando, they actually have a history of playing fairly well there. In fact, I remember when the Kings broke the record for most consecutive road losses. God, this was sometime in the 90s. Orlando's where they broke the streak. Scott Skiles' Orlando Magic team. Atlanta is the opposite. Atlanta, that is not a place where the Kings have had any sort of fun. Hey, Kyle, the 6th seed Sacramento Kings. It's actually stuff going around. People are actually starting to watch the seeds. I had somebody try to figure out the magic number for the Kings to clinch the playoffs last night. Either way, no matter if you are all on board and you're already doing playoff seeds or you're one of those, let's figure it out, guys. They go for win number 5 in a row. They look to go 6-3, 3-0 on this road trip. 4:30 this afternoon. Of course, KHTK, I'll have all your coverage with pregame at 4 o'clock. Kyle, one thing that really, really bothers me, the Sacramento Kings are favored by 1.5 in this game. I don't like that.
I think this was one of the games before the year that we saw them favored in. That we predicted they'd be favored in. It's the Hawks. They've lost 3 in a row. The Kings are scorching hot. They've won. They're looking for their 5th win in a row. There are a bunch of teams that haven't won 5 games all year. They're playing very well right now, and the Hawks are even in the earlier stages of a rebuild than the Kings are.
This game, by the way, and we'll obviously talk a ton about this today. Let me ask you this. The Kings are favored by 1.5. Were we wrong before the season started when we thought they might be favored in this game? And what I mean by that is the Kings are 5-3, and they're only favored by 1.5. Do you think, had the Kings started the way we thought they were, do you think they still would have been favored in this game, or do you think it would have probably flip-flopped?
It might have flipped a little bit.
I actually am surprised with their start. They're not favored by more. I don't like that they're favored at all. I wish they were the underdog by about 11.5 points, but that's the world we live in, folks. The Sacramento Kings, the juggernaut that they are going to start being favored. Is your mustache curled?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I just noticed that in the light.
I was eating a salad yesterday, and my mustache has reached a length that I couldn't put food in my mouth without shoving a bunch of my mustache into my mouth.
Gotcha.
It is very, very annoying.
It's good salad?
Really good salad.
Great salad.
Yeah.
All right.
From a local establishment.
Kyle ate salads.
Richard is alongside Carr. They're going to slip him out. Carr looking the other way. Now he steps up. Now he fires end zone. Touchdown! Brandon LaFell's first touchdown as an Oakland Raider.
Well, here we go tonight, guys. I want to hear it all day long. I want Niner fan on one side. I want a Raider fan on the other side.
We're drawing a line in the sand.
You know what we should do at some point? Let's see. We got a segment here in a few, and we'll talk about them later. We should actually try to set up one of those fakey, like, no disrespect, but like JT the Brick style call-in battles, and just have Niner fan and Raider fan smack each other off and see like who can talk any garbage. Is there any garbage to talk?
That's it. That's what's been so funny is the year the Niners went 8-8 and the Raiders beat them for their first win. There was a lot of smack talk.
Oh yeah.
And it was just this year. It's like, yeah. I wanted to know if people are actually wanting their favorite team, whether it's Niners or Raiders, to actually win tonight. This is a huge game in the battle for the number 1 pick.
I wonder if we can get an accurate take on that, because I think it's going to be very difficult for fans, especially football fans, to be like, I want to lose. Sure. But like deep down, do you really want to win?
Like, do you care that much if they lose?
Here's what it comes down to.
I don't think I'd be that bummed out.
Raider fan or Niner fan is on one. Here's your trade that is being proposed according to Adam Schefter. You can trade bragging rights and being able to talk crap to all your opposing team fans, whether you're a Raider or Niner fan. But in turn, you are giving up, perhaps, and most likely, the difference between the 1-2 pick and maybe the 3, 4, or 5 pick. You're dropping probably 2 to 3 picks in this draft in exchange for a win.
Yeah.
Is that a fair trade to you?
It probably is for the Raiders because they have a bunch of picks, but,
Probably not the Niners. All right, when we get back, we'll get into that. Niners, Raiders play tonight, and this is going to be a bad game, most likely. What is the worst sporting event? Now, Kyle, this is your question here. Are we limiting this to professional sports? Or
yeah.
Okay, yeah, so
maybe college.
Okay.
But I don't.
My kids' Little League game 3 years ago doesn't count.
They're all bad. I don't care.
I gotcha. So we're these are sports you have to buy tickets to. That are college or pro.
College or pro, yeah.
I got you. That's an excellent question. We'll take a break. We're back with that. Niners, Raiders on the Drive. Sports 1140 KHTK.
This is Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. Giants legend Willie McCovey died yesterday after a battle with ongoing health issues, according to a statement released by the San Francisco Giants. McCovey played 22 MLB seasons with the Giants, Padres, and A's. He was a 6-time All-Star, the Rookie of the Year in 1959, and won an MVP award in 1969. His 521 home runs are tied for 20th all-time. He was 80 years old. The Kings hit the court again tonight in Atlanta as they face the Hawks in the third game of a 4-game road trip. Sacramento has won 4 in a row. The Hawks, they've lost 3 in a row. Our coverage on Sports 1140 begins with game night at 3 o'clock. Kings Live is at 4, and tip-off is set for 4:30. And the 49ers and Raiders open week 9 of the NFL season in a battle of one-win teams at Levi Stadium. Get excited. It'll be the last meeting between the Bay Area rivals before the Raiders move to Las Vegas. Those are your top stories. And now, back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Here we go. The drive continues now.
Special thanks to Kyle and Eunice for handling our technical difficulties this morning. Now we have an honesty is the best policy on the show. Technical difficulties was I turned my alarm clock off. That's what it was. I can't remember the last time it happened, but I think everybody who works mornings, and by mornings I don't mean 9 to 5. I mean like weird, not normal mornings like 4 a.m. has gone through this before, where in my case last night I had a child that, well, let's just say too much candy. Although we take the candy from them when they get home, when we take them out trick-or-treating, come home, we take their candy. But the kids I think they're on to us now. So my son in the back of the car while we're driving home must have just been pounding candy. And then we get home. We probably should have known by all the empty wrappers. And he did it really quietly, too. And it's hard to tell because my daughter was talking the whole way home. So my wife and I took turns with him last night. Will you give me a weird? You got a weird look. Go ahead. There was some. Kyle gave me a weird look. Was it from something you took a bite of?
No.
Okay.
I'm interested.
No, please.
Where were you driving?
Oh, we alternate with a family, another couple who have kids my kids' age. They've kind of grown up together. So every other year we split. We go to their neighborhood, and then they'll come to our neighborhood next year and all that. Wait, okay. I think I know where you were going, though. Were you wondering if we were driving to, like, a better neighborhood?
No, I was just wondering.
That's a pet peeve of mine.
I was just wondering where. At our neighborhood yesterday in Elk Grove.
Yeah.
A whole van pulled up.
Dude, that to me.
Which is, and not like a minivan, like a commercial van.
Absolutely. Happens in my neighborhood, too, where they will just straight. Like, we've had multiple large vehicles, and I'm very split on this. On one hand, I'm like, no. I think
it's a great idea.
No.
Get your candy.
Because the kids that live in the neighborhood are now being competed with by visiting kids from the home field, right? You got your home field advantage, and now all of a sudden, they've got to compete on this candy stuff. On the other hand, I'm like, oh, man, they're little kids. Like, come on, maybe they're coming from some place that doesn't do Halloween.
Right.
I'm very split on it.
I lived in an apartment complex that you couldn't trick or treat at the apartment complex, but they offered like shuttle service to a nearby neighborhood.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess it's fine. I don't want to be all xenophobic. Oh, no, for kids from other neighborhoods, you stay there. Like, I get it, but then I see these vans pop up. And here's my biggest problem.
I thought it was great because we got rid of a lot of candy last night.
Go to a different neighborhood. I can handle that. But please respect the neighborhood that you go to.
Hey, can I agreed.
Please don't throw your trash everywhere. Please understand you're a guest.
Also, if you can drive yourself to a different neighborhood, you're not trick-or-treating anymore. We had grown-ass adults coming up to our door last night.
I can't remember the last time we handed out candy because we take the kids out, and we don't do the whole grab one out of the bowl.
No, that's stupid because you're going to get 4 kids that take the entire bowl.
So we turn out our lights and make sure that, hey, there's we're taking our kids out. Trust me, in about 3 years for the rest of our lives, we'll be trick-or-treater people. But I'll tell you right now, I have no problems with this. If I see you roll up and you, A, don't have a costume.
Yeah, wear a costume.
Or B, are over, listen, I would be annoyed at 13 or 14-ish. I would be annoyed at that.
I think 13 was my last year trick-or-treating.
Same here. I think once you're a teenager, you need to chill. But when you get into the mid-teens, if you and your group of friends are just basically rolling out to get out of the house and you're rolling up in your costume is like, I'm dressed up as a teenager, which I've seen people actually do before. I'm not, dude, I'll be like that episode in the Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'll tell you no, dude. Like, no.
We had a kid.
Go away.
It was 3 teenage boys. And open the door and they go, Happy Hanukkah. Like, nope.
No, dude.
No, we're done. No,
we're done.
Not only are you a bad person because you're like 17 and trick or treating, that's just not a funny joke.
It's
that's
not funny at all.
That's a bad joke.
Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas,
yeah.
Happy
Hanukkah. Because it's not the holiday. I get it.
That's great. Guess what? Happy you're not getting candy from me.
Yes.
Shut
it's
the door.
Hanukkah? Yeah, we don't give out candy
at all. See you later.
See ya. Happy Martin Luther King Day. Oh, same joke, different holiday. Good one, guy.
From the 209, as a high school teacher, I used to not give candy to older kids. Now I hear them talking about going out and getting, I'll say wasted. They used a different term I can't say on the air, on Halloween. I would much rather have them ask me for candy. Well, I understand the sentiment.
Hey,
but that's not your problem.
Guess what? They're going out at 7 o'clock and getting candy and then going and
right, exactly.
Partying.
Exactly. I would say 13 should be the cutoff.
I'm glad that we're setting just societal rules. Right
listen, I think that Halloween should be on a Saturday. I think the Super Bowl should be on a Saturday. And I think that it should actually be a misdemeanor and then a felony if there's more than one. It should be a misdemeanor we'll give you 1 year at 13. At 14, misdemeanor. You can actually call the cops on. Call the cops, have the cops come out.
I'm with this.
Sorry, kid. And from the text line saying, well, what are you just supposed to look at Christmas lights in your own neighborhood? Looking at Christmas lights and trick-or-treating are completely different things, and you know that they are. If somebody in your neighborhood or my neighborhood, if one of the houses gets king-size candy, which as we know is the holy grail of trick-or-treating, that should be going to the neighbor kids. You know what I'm saying? That you should not have to run out by 6:30 because of the influx of kids that have been vanned there. Just my thought, could be wrong. Either way, my wife and I took care of it back and forth, and then somehow, some way this morning, I have 2 alarms. I actually turned them both off without realizing it. Called Kyle at like 5:45. I was like, hey.
Hey, bud.
Mm-hmm. We'll take a break. When we come back, where are we? Wow, already. This show's flying by, Kyle. Some reason it's going quickly.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I missed
it. Feels like a segment shorter.
Right. Let's get into the Niners Raiders. This was a short segment. What is the worst sporting event you have been to? It might be tonight. 339-1140, 1-800-912-1140. It's a Drive Sports 1140 KHTK. Sam Amick of The Athletic will join us at 8:05. Talk shooty hoops. Dan Hawkins, the head coach of UC Davis Aggies, going to give us a visit for the first time this year. Dude, those Aggies, it kills me that college football is an afterthought in this area. I'm such a huge college football honk. UC Davis, man.
They're legit.
He went and smoked Montana last weekend in Montana. That doesn't happen.
Montana is like... Montana was like is an FCS program that if they moved over to an FBS conference, you wouldn't probably notice much that they were an FCS school.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got like James Madison, Montana. You got these blue bloods of that division. And I'm going to ask Dan when he comes on, which I hope he doesn't get offended by because the guy's doing amazing things at UC Davis, and we're going to focus on that.
They're ranked, I think sixth in the nation right now.
And I know some new rankings, like their version of the BCS rankings came out yesterday, and we'll have those ready for you as well. I think they're actually even higher. But I want to ask Dan what it would take, for example, UC Davis. What would it take, just for fun? What would it take for UC Davis, other than winning and going to Division I? What would it take for Sacramento to have a college football team? Maybe not that's on par, obviously, with Notre Dame or Alabama or anything like that, but what about Fresno State a few years ago? What about Cincinnati a few years ago? There have been smaller cities that have produced nationally ranked teams. What about Boise State with the big blue field and what's his face head coach who's now
Chris
at
Peterson.
Thank you. What about that? So anyway,
they're fun to watch too, man. They're good.
We're talking about the Raider-Niner game tonight and how we'll watch it. Because it's Raiders and Niners, and it's Thursday Night Football.
And I'm obligated to.
You are absolutely obligated to. And by the way, Kyle, thank you for not purposely reminding me, but kind of reminding me. I want to plug, you got a big tweet from USA Today.
Yeah, I have an AMA today on Reddit.
AMA is Ask Me Anything.
Ask Me Anything.
Non-millennials.
I have an AMA today on Reddit at 10 o'clock, so right after the show.
And AMA is where people on Reddit, and this was plugged by the big USA Today, their big Twitter account, complete with a picture of you holding a cat. What
they said to be like quirky or funny to show your personality in your proof photo. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna grab my cat.
When it's Ask Me Anything, here's what's interesting: Ask Me Anything, but you're also representing USA Today,
right?
So can they really ask you anything? They can ask. Are you going to answer everything?
I'm going to see what the rules are.
Mm-hmm. Ask me anything's ask me anything.
Right.
And if you think I'm not going to log on under a fake name,
right? It's not AMAA. Ask me almost anything.
Where can people go to ask you anything?
Reddit, the 49ers Reddit.
Okay. So they go to the 49ers Reddit.
And it'll be on there.
And it'll be on there. And I highly encourage listeners of the show to go on and ask Kyle anything. Specifically, questions about the drive.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm really hoping that it doesn't turn into like a Niners Q&A.
Right.
Because dude, I spend all day writing about the 49ers.
Wait, hold on. Isn't that what it's supposed to be?
No, it's supposed to be promoting the site and expanding our viewership and our readership. And my hope is that it's like, hey, like follow the site obviously, but also follow like what I'm doing.
So tonight, well, you're doing your AMA.
Today.
What time is it again? 10 a.m.?
Pacific.
Okay, so after you've wrapped it up, probably a few minutes after you wrap it up, kickoff will happen. And we have this game. And then this Kyle was trying to distribute tickets the other day and was having issues. Did that finally get taken care of? Okay, good.
Yeah. I have money for him and everything.
Tonight may not be the worst sporting event you've ever seen.
No.
But we asked some people. Here's one. Worst sporting event. I live in Manteca. I had a game and plane tickets to fly out to Lincoln, Nebraska for the opening football game against Akron. I had a plan for nearly 8 months. Then they had the game delayed and eventually canceled due to lightning while I sat hopelessly in the drenching Midwestern thunderstorm. Then had to watch as they went 0-6 over the next 6 games. Well, yeah. I'll go out on a limb here, Kyle. I will say this. The worst sporting event I've ever been to, and by the way, not because like I could say, oh, when the Kings lost by 40 to team X, Y, and Z, but I'm going beyond that. I think pretty much any NFL football game I've ever been to, I would count as the worst sporting event ever. I cannot stand going to NFL games. I can't.
I feel bad for you. I was at the final game at Candlestick, the Navarro Bowman pick six. Mm-hmm. I was at the playoff game against the Saints. Mm-hmm. Those are two of the best memories I have in my life.
I got to go to opening night at Levi Stadium.
That was awful. That game stunk.
And I would say the other big game I got to go to was I was at the Seahawks Patriots Super Bowl. Really good seats.
Again, Super Bowl is just totally different. You've been to 2 bad NFL games.
No,
well,
I mean,
it was a great game, obviously.
I was on the right side, 11 rows up from the pick, from the Malcolm Butler pick. It was from me to you. Well, maybe me to that wall behind you. I don't know how much better you can do. That was Katy Perry and Left Shark and all that stuff that happened. I was right there, the pageantry, the whatever.
You also don't like being around people, and you were at the freaking Super Bowl.
That's true. There's something about watching football live versus watching it at home. But then I was at the Sugar Bowl for Ohio State, Alabama, when Ohio State was the 4 seed and ended up winning the national. Obviously, I don't like either of those teams. There's something about the pageantry of college football. I got to be at Kentucky, Auburn, and Kentucky, and deal with all the tailgating is fantastic. But can you, Kyle, I'm asking you, I'm not trying to have an argument here, and then we'll take a break. Can you honestly tell me, do you have more fun sitting in your seat at a football game where you have a stationary one-camera view as opposed to watching it on TV with your friends?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
That's just a different, difference of opinion type of thing.
The atmosphere is much different. I was at Niners-Buccaneers November 21st, 2010. The Buccaneers won that game 21-0, and maybe the worst football game I will ever attend.
Woof.
It was really, really bad. It was the end of the Mike Singletary era.
Were you living in Brentwood at the time?
Yeah.
What was
No, I lived out here.
Okay. So last thing before we go to break, can you approximate for me the time you left your house to the time you got back to your house on that day?
Probably left around 9 a.m. Probably got back around 6.
6?
Yeah, it's about an 8 or 9 hour day usually.
And you missed every other game that day. That was a Sunday.
Yeah, that stunk. Yeah, going to a bad game is not great.
At some point, we should rank fun games to see fun sports to see in person.
Okay.
We'll take a break. When we come back, hey, Kings Hawks tonight. Kings looking for the 5th win in a row, and De'Aaron Fox better be feeling good, because this game is going to be an absolute blur, and not just between Fox and Trae Young. We'll tell you why next, right here on Sports 1140 KHTK.